Okay, early morning video. It's 6 in the morning here, and I spent a lot of time this night trying to figure out the issues with this MSI motherboard and my 3600 MHz memory kit. So in my previous video on my friend channel, we figured out that, well, we actually found out that MSI boards had huge issues running gear mode 2 with 3600 MHz. And so I'm now delving deeper into this issue. On a performance perspective, I'm trying to get the best performance out of this memory kit. So this is a very cheap memory kit. I don't know if I can get a video of that. It's very hard to see now. But these were like rated for 20, 26. So it's a super cheap memory kit. But I bought a lot of those because they were usually able to run it actually at 18, 20, most of them. And like this one is one of the most lucky ones. I binned them and I kept this kit for future use because I was not able to run those at 3600 with my engineering sample CPUs, which were locked at 3000 MHz. So this was the best kit out of the set. I binned it with a K CPU and then I kept it. And so yeah, basically what happens is that as long as you run it gear 2, you can set 3600 MHz like this. And one another thing important to note is that the motherboard actually lies about the command rate for some reason. If you set it to real 1T, it will sometimes set to 2T and sometimes to 1, and it doesn't make any sense. But I mean, this is like a crappy board, and that's what I found out basically, and what I'm explaining in this video. And so I'm not like surprised anymore about this. But this time it put it to 2T apparently, from what HU info is telling me. And it's running at 3600 MHz. And these are the scores that I get from OCCT memory testing and Cinebench. Now I'm not gonna do any kind of video editing, so I'm just telling you the results, and you have to trust me. What happens with this configuration, with this combination of CPU, which is a i5 12600, is that I can either run on this motherboard with gear 1, 3400 MHz, and keep the same timings. So if I run this memory at 3400, I am not able to lower any timing unless I want to get some blue screens. So they will run at either 16x or 18x memory clock ratio at the same exact timings. It will sometimes boot at 1T, sometimes boot at 2T. I have yet to figure out why this happens, but the results are not very different. So the best I could get with this test was 1000. This is the best score I got actually, around the best, maybe 1090 when I was able to run at 1T, but that doesn't make much of a difference. With Cinebench I was able to run once at 1950, something around that. It's pretty random. I'm running it with high priority, but it still differs from run to run. And when I run this memory with gear 1 at 3400 mega transfers, I will get lower scores. So that's basically the sum up of the video. So you're better off running 200 megahertz more and running gear 2 than the other way around. And that was pretty unexpected. I was not expecting 200 megahertz of RAM frequency to make that much of a difference. I mean, I was expecting gear 1 and gear 2 to be more important, but that's not the case. I'm using those two tests. I've yet to test it with any kind of longer benchmark like Sandra. I might be able to get different results, and in that case I will update this video. But yeah, I just wanted to wrap up this before I fall asleep, and yeah, I guess that's all for this video. So gear 1 3400 is worse than gear 2 3600 at the same timings. Oh, and also, why is all of that? What's the main issue with that? What is the reason for that? Well, the reason is that with locked Intel CPUs, since Alder Lake, you are not able to modify the system agent voltage anymore. So that's why I cannot run it at gear. Oh, actually, you can lower it, but you cannot get it higher than 0.98. So I'm actually now running with a negative offset on the SA FID. So I'm running at minus 20, I think, 0.020. So I'm slightly undervolting the system agent, but you cannot undervolt it more than I would say 0.04. So the maximum you can get with the system agent is 0.98, and that's not enough to run Gear 1 at 3600. But this is enough to run Gear 2 at 3400. Sorry, at 2600. So I can run 3600 Gear 2 at 0.9, but I cannot run 3600 Gear 1 at 0.98. From a what I read online, the system agent needs to run at 1.1 to reach this kind of speed. But at the same time, I was able to run the same CPU, because that's the testing CPU that I used for all my testing previously, at Gear 1 3600 with other boards. But now that I see that sometimes boards can lie about stuff, and I'm not sure I checked it, actually. I'm not sure if I did check that it was actually running at command rate 1 or 2 in the previous tests. But I'm not sure if Gigabyte and Asus and other brands are lying like MSI is doing with this board. So actually more questions than answers, but that's like, life is a constant stream of doubts. Yeah, that's all.